Hi Lee, I'm at your studio. Thank you so much for hosting the Abergavenny Arts Festival. You have two streams of work. You're predominantly a painter, would you say?
That's right, yeah, I'm mainly oil painting at the moment.
Yeah, and you focus on still lives and portraiture,
That's right,
some
yeah,
landscape work.
yeah.
It'd be lovely to see inside the studio. Can you tell us a bit about setting up the studio here in Cwmdu?
Yeah, so we were lucky enough to find this building. Um, well, it was probably about 7 years ago, I guess now. It was a school before, a primary school, but unfortunately it closed down. There were just not enough pupils here, and I think the money didn't add up, so they closed it. It was derelict for 2 years. We were lucky enough to buy it at auction, so we did that and then set it up as an art school and art studios.
And you did an awful lot of the work yourself, didn't you?
We did, yeah, we did most of the work ourselves actually.
Let's go inside and have a
have a
good look. Yeah.
So here we are in what used to be the school hall and the main classrooms for the school. And in this
Fantastic
room we
space.
do a lot of our teaching actually. We teach students traditional drawing and painting techniques
Yeah.
generally, and that happens in here.
So you're lucky to have two spaces that you work in here.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Yes.
So in
Separate
here,
disciplines.
there's the lights on.
So you use the curtains here for controlling the light source.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've just turned on the lights, but normally what would happen is that most of the lights would be off.
Yeah.
Possibly this one above the window here, which is a daylight bulb. So if it's a dark day, I can have that one on. But the idea is that this room has north light. North light changes the least of any lighting. And you can get you can see really lovely subtleties in the light. So you can see here I've got a setup with some blossom, which sadly is now gone.
Although you quite enjoy that part of the painting process, do you? To sort of capture the gradual changes.
Absolutely,
yeah.
I mean, I paint quite a lot of floral paintings, and it's really nice to capture not just one instance of the life of the plant, but capture the sort of journey from it being alive to when the petals fall off and die. It's interesting both in terms of the composition and structure, but there's more of a story there with the journey of the life of the thing. Yeah.
And this is a piece you've just started?
Yeah, so this piece is probably, I guess it's getting towards halfway there. I'm just still defining the structure of it at the moment actually. I mean, you can see some parts of the painting are more work than others. So the vase I put a little bit more into it, a couple of the apples. And I'll actually build on this. I'll add more apples into the composition, and I'm just at the moment working out where all the blossom's going to go. So yeah, I'm enjoying developing it. I mean, portraits aren't quite so forgiving in terms of moving things around in the composition, but in those portraits I try and capture the essence of the person. I think that's really important, and a lot of that is in the eyes. Try and make it feel as if that person's there and you kind of know them.
I think it's so interesting how you bring focal points to portraits. Could you perhaps tell us a little bit more about the magic that happens there?
Yeah, well maybe if we have a look at this example here of a guy called Gerald, who's actually an electrician from near Abergavenny. You see what I've done with this painting is I've got him kind of looking slightly off canvas here.
Yeah.
But talking about the focal points, a lot of it revolves around how the contrast works in the picture, and your eye will be drawn to the areas of highest contrast. So often placing a highlight right near the centre of the eye with the black next to the white, that will be the highest point of contrast on the painting, and that will draw the viewer into that area.
Yeah.
I mean, naturally, people are attracted to people's eyes when they look at portraits anyway, but I kind of overemphasise it. And on this particular painting, you know, I added extra highlights on the top of the glasses as well.
Yeah.
And made a bit more of them than there actually was.
So there's
again, to bring
another strong
bring
contrast.
the eye into that.
And so you, to counterbalance that focal point, then there's a looser work around the edges of the canvas. Would you say?
Absolutely, yeah. And you can see there's quite a lot of loose work, and there's a bit of compression of values as well. So
you might have to explain that.
Okay, yeah. So what I've done on the eyes is sort of kind of push the value range as much as I possibly can to get the focus on it. And when I was talking about compression of values, so for example, we look at the beard area, the values change much less, and actually I would have changed them less than the reality.
I see.
So they're kind of a bit more unified.
So there might have been more grey, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, you can see that it does get darker as the form turns, and I think what's really important in any painting
gives it a lovely depth.
Yeah, is actually capturing the form. So using the values to change the form.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of tricks going on when we're painting. It's not just about capturing that person. It's trying to make a picture that's engaging, that people's eyes are going to remain on, and in particular portraits that people can kind of feel they're almost getting to know that person a bit. Yeah.
It's the intimacy.
Yeah. So I do love portraits, and actually the process of portrait painting is probably my most, the thing I most enjoy. These are all painted from life. So this painting would have been painted over, I think it was about 5 or 6 sittings of a morning each. So I got to know Gerald over that time. We talked a lot. I can only
imagine the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it turned out that Gerald's not just an electrician, but he's a musician as well. And I share an interest there, so we talked a lot about music and just life in general. I mean, it's actually a really enjoyable, engaging process.
Yeah. And that warmth comes through in that portrait. There is a sense of a relationship between you and Gerald.
Yeah, it's really important, I think.
I think that's really precious, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you see a lot of portraits where it's kind of a model sitting kind of still and just staring. And I like the models, when I paint, talk all the time.
Yeah.
Keeps the life in the eyes, and it keeps the engagement. It's really good fun. Really good fun. And actually, the models tend to enjoy it as well, because it's very rare that people get time to sit down and just talk and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, that's sort of one-to-one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And one of the things that does attract me to the painting is the kind of the lack of immediacy, the fact that there is craftsmanship involved in making something beautiful, and it just it's quite different to this modern expectation that everything is just instant and just happens straight away. So, that you need to put the time in to make something happen. So
you're actually valuing the process as much as the outcome.
And here's an example. I don't do a lot of landscapes at the moment, but here's an example. This is just actually of from Pembrokeshire. This is a painting I did recently. I'm lucky enough to get away over Easter for a few days, for the first time in a year or so. And so this brings back lovely memories of very early morning walks along the beach.
Yeah, you've captured that light, that warm light.
Yeah, so this one will end up on my wall. I don't keep many of my paintings, but this one I will. Okay, welcome to my print room.
Yeah, well, it's a very familiar room to me, because my first printmaking lessons were here, and
Right. Okay. Yeah.
you were a wonderful teacher and really
thank you.
got me going. But
Right.
so yeah, I'm very happy to be talking about your prints.
Okay.
But,
Good. Thank you.
should we start with this collection behind you?
Yeah. So what we've got here is I did a whole series of lino prints, mainly from the Brecon Beacons. There are some other ones. This is Caerphilly Castle,
Yeah,
which
lovely.
is just outside. We've got Sugarloaf. This is Crickhowell Bridge. This is actually from where I live, looking towards the Blorange, Table Mountain, Sugarloaf,
Oh, yeah.
and Carrickkenan Castle, which is just about in the Brecon Beacons, I think, maybe slightly outside, near Swansea Way.
Yeah.
So these prints are all made from one piece of lino, a process called reduction lino printing. So the way they're made up is I'll do a design, and then actually to print the prints, it's a process of cutting away first of all everything you want to be white on the picture,
Yeah.
and then printing a layer in various colours, and then once I've done that a few times, so printed a number in the edition, then cut away some more and then print a different layer on top, generally darker.
Yeah.
So building up the images, and the images slowly appear
Yeah.
over time. So it's quite a time-consuming process and needs a lot of planning.
Yeah.
I mean, each of these is probably a week's work at least.
I'm sure, and you have to think in the reverse, not only
Oh yeah.
in terms of landscape, but in terms of colour appearing on the canvas.
Absolutely, yeah. So
The
yeah.
negative spaces are what you create first, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. So interestingly, so for this one, for example, the first things that would have been cut out are some of these areas of snow,
Yeah.
and in the sky.
Yeah. So I think snowy landscapes do really appeal to printmakers, don't they?
They
Because
do, yeah. I think it's the white being
Yeah.
the white of the
the
paper
white of the
showing
paper,
through.
yeah.
I developed this series some years ago, probably 2010 I think I started them. I can't really remember, to be honest. I haven't done many for a while, but I will do some more.
Yeah, so painting came after the printmaking.
Yeah, I always wanted to learn how to be a painter, so
Yeah.
that kind of became a bit of a distraction, really.
But you started with printmaking, is that
I started
right?
with printmaking, yeah. It's a great process, and it's really good to get these lovely graphic images.
Yeah.
But also it's really good discipline in terms of being able to break down a design into different value layers.
Yeah.
And actually spend. So this one is of some echinacea flowers. Not that you can see that at the moment. And I'm just getting the design onto the lino. I don't know if you can see this, but this is actually the design. I did design it on tracing paper. So you can see there's a slightly Art Nouveau feel
Yeah,
to
it's
it
lovely.
with the circle.
Yeah.
And it's the third one.
Framed by the circle.
Yeah, there's a third one in a series of prints I'm developing.
So you do like to work in series, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Partly because people then can collect them. Is that why?
That's not why I do it,
No.
but people do collect them.
Which is a nice benefit.
Yeah, it's a nice benefit,
but
yeah.
not unexpected.
It's not why I
No.
do it. I do it. It's more for me. I mean, for me, it's a lot about it's the fun of making things.
Yeah.
And developing an idea and a style.
Yeah, and progressing the idea
it,
further. Yeah.
I must say, I do. It terrifies me, the thought of being defined by one style. I think the style is just, it's like another colour on the palette, really. And
That's so interesting because I think a lot of people hanker for a personal style.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in your turning that on its head.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, a lot of artists, I guess, do develop a style and become known for it, but I must say I tend to once I've achieved something, I then want to move on and do something different.
And learn and progress.
And I think it's quite exciting to try different things and different styles.
Yeah.
I think that flowers at the moment are kind of keep on bringing me back. I think there's something about them. I think it's their structure. I think it's the colour. I think that they're actually quite abstract when you look at the shapes.
Yeah, you've really captured that with this design.
Yeah, and it's kind of, you get so much interesting positive and negative shapes going on. So there's some daisies, and one thing that's interesting about this series is that I'm actually embellishing them with gold leaf as well. So this is
capturing them.
so which will change as you move. And again, on that one, I kept the palette very restricted. It's just in blues with the yellows,
which makes it very strong. It's very striking.
Yeah. This one's a bit more different. There's a kind of older feel to this one in some ways.
Yeah, it's very lovely.
Yeah, this is a reduction lino print, and this was, I think this was 3 layers. It wasn't many.
No.
So you can see actually on the
you've achieved a lot in 3 layers.
On the first couple of layers, there's a lot of painting going on. So you mentioned my painting informing my printmaking.
Yeah.
So I would on the lino, I've actually painted with rollers. So for example, reds here, greens here, orangey browns here, oranges here. So you can see as the colours, for example, this piece here is actually printed in one pass, but it's inked up
loosely,
with different rollers.
Nicely.
And then I use the later layers to kind of unify the whole image. So yeah, I'm enjoying this series. So you'll see more of these.
Oh, fantastic! Well, thanks so much for your time, and it's just
Pleasure.
a really wonderful space, and I'm glad it'll be opening up again now COVID's settling down.
Yeah. I kind of go for tranquility quite a bit. I go for beauty. I mean, part of it is a sort of antidote to all the craziness in the world. Bringing a bit of calmness and reflection and beauty into the work to cheer people up, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Which should never ever be underestimated.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a value in art.
Definitely. Yeah.
It doesn't have to have a political statement.
Absolutely not.
No.
And I definitely, although I do change styles, I don't think the style is the most important thing. I think it's the feeling.
It's the feeling, tranquility.
Picture. Absolutely, And actually, for me, I do ask myself the question, why am I doing this? Because it can be seen as a bit self-indulgent, just making pictures. But actually, it's comments like, your picture cheers me up every day. That's what I really like, and that's.
Well, it's a way to connect with people, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And if I find that my picture is making someone's day a little bit better, then I think I've succeeded.